There is a moment in every lion's life that no roar can stop. A moment when strength fades quietly, when speed disappears without warning, when the world begins to move faster than the body can follow. It doesn't arrive in battle. It doesn't come with noise. It comes in silence. This lion once ruled, once walked without hesitation, once commanded space simply by standing. Now he sits. The savanna stretches endlessly around him, unchanged, indifferent. Grass still moves with the wind. Prey still passes at a distance. Other lions still exist. But something is different. He no longer rises immediately when he senses movement. He waits, not because he is cautious, but because he is tired. Every breath feels heavier than the last. Every step carries the memory of pain. Scars cover his body like a map of who he used to be, each one earned, each one paid for. Once, those scars meant survival. Now they mean history. He watches younger lions from afar. They move quickly, carelessly, without fear. He recognizes that energy. He remembers it. There was a time when he moved the same way, when the savanna responded to him instantly, when rivals turned away before conflict began, when prey fled at the sound of his movement. That time is gone. Not stolen, not taken, simply past. He lowers himself to the ground slowly, carefully, as if the earth itself has become something to negotiate with. His body sinks into the dust. For the first time, rest is not a choice, it is a necessity. Around him, life continues. A herd moves in the distance. Birds lift into the air. Insects crawl through the grass near his paws. The world does not pause for kings. He closes his eyes briefly, not to sleep, but to remember. There were nights filled with sound, roars echoing across territory lines, challenges answered without hesitation. There were battles where retreat never crossed his mind, where pain was ignored, where victory mattered more than survival. He survived those moments. But survival has changed. Now it is quieter, slower, lonelier. There is no pride beside him, no lionesses resting nearby, no cubs playing at a safe distance. Only space, only time, only the weight of what has been lost. He lifts his head suddenly, instinct still alive, a distant sound, a movement, but the urgency fades quickly. He does not rise. He has learned something that younger lions have not. Not every threat must be faced. Not every challenge is worth the cost. This is not fear, it is understanding. The body remembers what the mind refuses to accept, that dominance is temporary, that strength is borrowed, that the wild does not promise permanence. The sun begins to lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the land. Golden light touches his mane, once thick and dark, now uneven, worn. For a brief moment, he looks almost peaceful, not defeated, just aware. Aware that the savanna is preparing to move on, aware that new lions are rising, aware that his chapter is nearing its final pages. But even now, even here, something remains, a presence. Other animals still keep their distance, other predators still hesitate. Memory lingers longer than power. He exhales slowly, and in that breath there is no anger, no
There was a time when his presence alone sent ripples through herds, when animals lifted their heads instantly, bodies tightening, escape routes calculated in seconds. Now they hesitate. Not long, just long enough. And that hesitation tells him everything. He could try. He knows how to hunt. The instincts are still there. The memory of speed still lives inside him. But memory does not move muscle. He rises anyway, not because he believes he will succeed, but because giving up would feel worse. The stalk is slow, too slow. His body remembers the motion, but the response lags behind the intention. When he finally lunges, the distance is already gone. The herd scatters, dust lifting into the air. He stops, breathing heavy, watching them disappear. There is no anger in his eyes, only understanding. He lowers himself back into the grass. Hunger remains. Around him, other predators watch from afar. Hyenas linger at the edges of vision, cautious but curious. They know. They have always known when to wait. Once they would not have dared come this close. Once they scattered at the sound of his movement. Now they test distance. Not attacking, not challenging, just waiting. Time has shifted sides. As the sun climbs higher, heat presses down on his body. Shade becomes valuable. He moves toward it slowly, settling beneath sparse cover. This is where he spends most of his time now, resting, observing, remembering. The memories come uninvited. Battles that shook the ground, roars that echoed across the plains, moments where pain meant nothing because victory meant everything. He remembers standing tall after fights, blood on his mane, rivals retreating into the distance. He remembers being followed, not by enemies, but by respect. Now the land feels wider, emptier. There is no pride to return to, no familiar bodies resting nearby. Lionesses have moved on. They always do. They must. Survival does not allow sentiment. Cubs he once protected now belong to other males or to memory alone. This is the loneliest truth of dominance. When power fades, so does company. Afternoon turns to evening. The temperature drops, but the weight remains. As light softens, he hears them. Roars, not his. Younger voices, closer than they used to be. They don't challenge him directly. They don't need to. Their presence alone is a message. The future has arrived. He listens without responding. Once he would have answered instantly, asserting control with sound alone. Now silence feels safer. Not because he is afraid, but because he understands what confrontation would cost. Night falls slowly. Stars appear overhead, indifferent and distant. This is when the savanna becomes most dangerous, not because of what can be seen, but because of what moves unseen. He remains still. Energy is precious now. Hyenas grow bolder after dark. They laugh in the distance, testing the air, testing him. He lifts his head slightly. They pause. Memory still has power, but it is fading. He closes his eyes again, breathing steady, conserving what little strength remains. Sleep does not come easily. It never does anymore. Pain wakes him. Cold settles into joints. Sounds pull him back into awareness again and again. When dawn finally breaks, it finds him exactly where he was. Still alive, still present, still enduring. But endurance is no longer enough to reclaim what was lost. He understands that now. The savanna is not waiting for him to recover. It never has. And as the day begins again, one truth settles deeper than hunger, deeper than pain. He is no longer fighting to rule. He is fighting to exist. And even that battle is becoming harder to win.
There comes a point when even endurance begins to feel like resistance against something inevitable. For him, that point arrives not in a single moment, but in fragments. A step that hurts more than it should. A sound he no longer responds to. A morning where standing feels optional. The savanna does not announce these changes. It simply continues. Days pass, marked only by the movement of light and shadow. The sun rises. The sun falls. He moves less. Not because he wants to conserve energy, but because movement itself has become expensive. Hunger is no longer sharp. It has dulled into something quieter, something constant. He eats when opportunity presents itself. He does not chase opportunity anymore. Scavenging becomes familiar. Waiting becomes routine. Once, waiting would have been unthinkable. Now, it is survival. The younger lions are closer now, not hidden, not distant. Sometimes he sees them standing openly on the edges of what was once his territory. They are not cautious anymore. They look at him the way one looks at something old, not with fear, not with hatred, but with calculation. They do not rush him. They do not need to. Time is already doing the work for them. There are moments when instinct surges inside him, a flash of the lion he used to be. He rises suddenly, muscles tightening, head lifting, eyes sharp. For a heartbeat, the old presence returns. The younger lions pause. Even now, something about him commands respect. But the moment passes. The effort costs him more than it gives. He lowers himself again, breathing heavy, aware that he cannot afford many more of those moments. The land feels different now. Sounds are louder. Distances feel longer. The savanna that once responded to him instantly now feels vast and unresponsive. There is no center anymore, no place where everything orbits around his presence. He has become a part of the background, and that realization carries a weight no wound ever did. One evening, he lies beneath the open sky as clouds drift slowly overhead. The air is still. He watches birds settle for the night. Small movements, small lives. He has outlived many seasons, many rivals, many storms. But longevity does not bring immunity, only perspective. He remembers the first time he roared as a dominant male, the sound carrying far beyond his body, answering challenges before they were even spoken.
Narration, only awareness. Awareness that his body is preparing for rest, a rest deeper than sleep. Other lions pass through the land he once ruled. They do not approach him directly. They do not need to. His time as an obstacle has passed. His presence is no longer a boundary. It is a reminder, a living memory of what dominance once looked like. As days shorten and nights cool, his movements grow fewer. He remains alive, still breathing, still aware, still here. But the fight has left him. Not because he lost it, but because he no longer needs it. He has already endured longer than expected, already rewritten what survival looks like. There is dignity in this quiet, in the refusal to vanish suddenly, in the choice to remain until the body decides otherwise. The savanna does not mourn. It does not celebrate. It simply accepts, and so does he. He lies down one final time beneath the open sky, not seeking shelter, not hiding, just resting. The land continues to breathe around him. Grass moves, insects crawl, life carries on. And in that stillness, his story completes itself. Not with a roar, not with a battle, but with something far rarer. Peace.